Welcome to our lovely luminous warriors. If you tuned into our short restorative embodiment is the luminous warrior's life, thanks to us being our lovely medicine wheel, body connected, and our own beloved. So you're self-led, your higher self. You are like the enlightened ones, the three signs: compassionate, and that's towards self and others and the world. For me, I'm a mystic, I'm a channeler, downloader, spiritual, so I also get to channel God, archangels, galactic beings, you name it. And I'm sharing stories though today, so there's no channeling or food for thought going on, but I continue to integrate all of it as always. Two, you feel feelings deeply, and that's why you forgive, like lovely Jesus taught me. And the ones who know forgiveness, it's a heart that is open, that can be hurt, but it's not closing up. It lets the tears out in a healthy way. Emotions last 90 seconds when you're a body that is connected. That's why we're luminous warriors, the real ones. We recognize the ones who are not luminous, and they're actually for after. Hold on. And three, thoughts. So we do pay attention to our imagination and our thoughts, and we don't use the dark sides of neuroplasticity. So we don't use self-righteous, low frequency, evil, not evil, da da da. That's all the people who have negative self-talk and negative talk, and they have monstrous images. They can use lovely Patrick Tian to heal their inner child, to reparent themselves. Then they can use Dr. Amy Pegan to notice if their body still is in survival mode. Then they can say, these nasty thoughts are really not necessary. I'm not in a movie, I'm not in a war, like a physical one. Okay, so when someone chooses not to wield their intellect, his thoughts are part of your intellect, in ways that will create that which is intelligence, we are not going to find them luminous at all. In fact, when we do need to follow no, we don't. So enlightened ones don't follow Peter Pan's or Wendy's or the Lost Boys. We identify them, and then we will read the Wendy's, we will spot the Peter Pans, and we'll know that all the Lost Boys might be able to join us if they choose to basically love themselves first. Okay, so choosing you doesn't mean abandoning others or not helping someone who is drowning. Okay, so when you hear about the mystics who lose people because they're expanding and becoming higher frequency, it's not a higher frequency like that. You choose love, which is the enlightenment frequency, which means you have a body that's connected, which is why the first step to enlightened ones is they're compassionate completely. I love myself with flaws and you. The world is fine. They're not broken humans. And the ones who are, they can be fixed with therapy. And then they'll become, just like every one of us, angels with hearts. And they will know how to wield their brain and stop with the yucky images. And when we see adolescents, we will stand as an example of what it means to do healthy self-soothing, which means to use your mind effectively. So when people want to talk to me about strategy, I have a master's degree in international relations and diplomacy. But furthermore, my past lives, a bunch of them. I'm not going to bring them all in. And the galactic beings that I'm a part of as well. Arcturians, Lemurians, Pleiadians, you bring it all in. Uranus is with me. Like, there's just so many that I'm not going to go there, because also, as Thomas Campbell points out, our brain's going to always want to make sense of everything, but the truth is one and God is one. The difference is we're the enlightened one, so we don't say we need to stay divisive with words. Prophets, expert gurus, yogis, everything comes from darkness, because darkness is where everything begins, the Big Bang, right? And it begins with unknowns. And the further you are able to be okay with it and leave it alone, and you don't battle spirituality or sciences, and you're not repeating your ancestors' past. So this is the one thing that the Ford you continue to disregard. We don't repeat the past. And actually there's a way that it works. So enlightened ones know of Dharma, and then they know of what time it is, and then they know that they're not here to make you choose it. No, you choose what you want to choose. It's not fixed in stone. So sciences, some people of sciences say you have no free will. Some people of mystic community also think you have none. They have a different way of wielding their mouths, but again, that's where they are at. Instead, those of us who know you have the free will choice to use your thoughts carefully, to disengage from shitty imagination. I got to college seeing bullshit people thinking it was cool that they were in frat and sororities while I thought they were morons. To this day, I'm a grown-up. I see you treating your body like shit. You're not an intellectually intelligent anything. I need to leave it alone because it ain't none of my business, because that's how it works. No expectations, because, again, why should I tell you what to do with your body? It's your body, not mine. Furthermore, why would I bother using any bit of my breath when you clearly know you have it all together? I'm in college, I got a guy looking at me weird because I live at home with my mom, and I'm thinking, I see how you lead your life, and I'm pretty sure that I'm happier living with my mom than whatever you think you are. You're not independent. You don't know how to treat yourself. Independent would mean you know how to treat yourself. You know how to feed yourself, how to clean, how to eat, and then, again, the smart attachment trauma educators are spelling out why people don't know how to do this. So when I'm hearing about people complaining about other human beings who are grown-ups, I'm like, you don't know where they came from. If they're doing what they're doing, there is a place that I can point at right away. And it's not about parent blaming, as Patrick Chan points out. It's emotionally immature people have a way about not taking their nervous system and all their child parts seriously, and then being able to be setting a ventral vagal state equanimous example because they don't have it all together, because they're actively 0-8 emotionally mature versions of themselves with 16-year-old ruling them, which doesn't sound like anything fascinating at all. No, it doesn't look fascinating either. And then as an enlightened one, I know about the soul age groups, the relationship and societal soul age groups, and about free will. Okay, so that's why I don't make you do anything. God brings us to each other for reasons, not to impose. So you choose not to abandon people because you don't have to. You choose not to leave someone to drown because you don't have to. But above all, God gives you the choice. Love, fear, blaming monsters and blaming and getting spiked. That's exactly where the teenager version of all those divisive groups are at. Just so we're clear, they're not better or worse. They're doing their thing. So my facade friend is who I'm going to use as the example. Besides all of my ridiculous experiences in college and as a teenager and now as a grown-up, I don't have anything to say to people who are actually not luminous, nor are they warriors, nor do they know health, because they actually don't even want to have what is an honest, open-hearted conversation, which makes it even double and triple and quadruple so everyone wants to heal until the medicine shows up in the form of discipline. Hippocrates, thank you. And again, having no expectations is the way of the enlightened ones, because God doesn't send us, or Akash or source, to tell each other what to do. We are choice points. I get to choose for me, you get to choose for you. That's my responsibility. My responsibility is also to accept, respect, and love you just the way you are. As an enlightened one, I am not God, I am not it. I do not play it. Those who play it are dressing up in cloaks, and all of the types of cloaks, and the words is what I'm saying. So we don't be like, oh, your intuition is right. Wow, yeah, intuition and illusion. I see you haven't transcended it with truth and balance, and that you don't know what inspiration and faith are. You just know how to use your mouth. Because masculines are bountiful, and their idiocy, it's not men, it's the left. In the absence of an empowered feminine, they're not empowered masculines, and that's why they're not noticing your words matter, your imagination matters, your neuroplasticity. Use it well, you're going to become amazing. Use it erroneously, you're going to think you're amazing. You're going to be a buffoon to someone like me and anybody else who's emotionally, mentally, and physically, intellectually intelligent, and then attachment trauma informed. Then it's going to let's leave it alone. Because as Patrick Tiahan points out to his community, there's a bunch of cowards who are going to go give those people crap for them healing. Because the other ones are okay with passing on to transgenerational trauma, the self-righteous baton. They're also okay with passing on stories of monsters versus knowing there's no monster inside of any of our brothers and sisters. So here at IHP, we have two ways we look at evil. Michael Stone, forensic criminologist scale, they all end up in prison. They're surrounded by therapists, and there's a very specific order I put them on, the volcano that I decided to visualize them on. God says, that's not going to work. I say, yeah, because cosmic karmic balancing, walk like an Egyptian. Because there's two sides. So when people don't understand why we come from darkness, it's because they don't understand that it's the unknown. It's not about the darkness of bad or good, but also if you looked at the colors, the panel of colors, everything comes from black, the color black. Even white is a reflection of it or something like that. I took art in college years. So when you're able to harness love, that's because you're using prefrontal, and that's why you're an actual badass. I remember when I finally learned what an actual badass was, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I grew up, because complete knowledge makes you powerful. And people who have savior complex or please appeasing and don't snap out of it, it's because you don't snap out of you're not securely attached body. Like Dr. Amy Apigan points out, some people, even after therapy, they are still working to get into more of the body connected. So it's up to people who choose, I will give and receive with gratitude. I will know that this and that are true. I have subjective experience, so do you, and I won't make it into competition. I'll be curious, open, accepting, and loving. Dr. Daniel Siegel's acronyms for when you're in your prefrontal, when you're in the now. So physically speaking, luminous warriors are consistently in a physiological state of compassion, because we know how to be loyal to what we love, and because we're not acting as if we're taking the lead. No, I am the lead of Maria, her 14-month-old. I don't reclaim a power. She is the power. And I work with magical Care Bears. So mystics in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and however words they will use, they will be fond of those who know what the love frequency is, but they will know compassion towards humanity who's not broken. So we don't think of Mother Earth wanting to eat us alive. We don't think of Akash, empowered feminine, as wanting to wreak havoc and come punish us. We don't think of actually creating stories of monsters that are going to come to scare us. Like the stories that would, boogeyman's going to come to get you. Seriously? So, anyways, when you choose yourself, people think it means you're selfish. No, choosing yourself means that you know how to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, which means that I'm your friend because I care about you. Which means if I'm your lover, it's because I want that. I will want the relationship. I don't need it. And if you will not please me, no. I don't need you. You don't need me. We have pleasure and enjoy. But this is one-sided when you have the lack of emotional mature. So the part about having no expectations is because you don't tell someone, hey, get out of your suffering body. Will you already? Hey, get your attachment wounds cleared up. Will you already? That's actually a martyr superior who is not anything important. They need therapy too. So when you understand what attachment science says, every person has an attachment category. Every person can be moving it around, and they get to live those events called life. And if they are traumatized from them, then they get to choose if they're going to take care of themselves or not. If they want to use fancy words, they can continue to do that and create their fancy groups. In the meantime, the ones of us who care about doing what is something that is making a difference, be yourself, makes a difference. Accepting, loving, and respecting others for who they are. So the facade friend story. He and I have known each other since we were teenagers, and he's only one of many human beings out there that I got to welcome, accept, and then love, and consistently watch as they just stagnate in this low frequency. So their ego becomes more and more sensitive by the minute. They become old farts, and really it's not fascinating, but it's not, again, something that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so upset at them. So my friend has one friend in addition to me. And the only reason I was his friend is because I picked him as a friend, he picked me, and I was okay with his assholeish behavior. What was it? About mid-20s? Yeah, mid-20s. So we're both at that point single, but he's single for a very different reason, and he's not taking it well. I, on the other hand, am single, that word. And I have Twin Flame 1 in the picture. Amazing. Then got Twin Flame 2, 3, soulmates, you name it. It's amazing as an empowered feminine, the joy that you have. What joy I can tell you is getting attachment trauma educated. As for the ones who are living their illusion, thinking their intuitiveness knows everything, what a divine feminine will tell you is that a divine masculine is an empowered. It doesn't matter what gender, that means that they actually are overflowing with humanity. So divinity, common sense has to descend, which means I don't make you, you are you, and I am me. And we will both, in fact, only be loving when we are equanimous, discerning, and having a good time always, not just sometimes. So it's constructive expansion. It's not, I come tell you how to do life. That's not it. And I know some people like the whole constructive criticism. I like to change words Maria's way because they don't sound, I don't criticize you. It's none of my business. I will have constructive food for thought. It's not even constructive if you don't want to take it. Because like Bezel Vanderkolk points out, you don't talk sense to anyone. And so I like to let you all know I'm very objective. You don't tell me anything where else, sure, I'll do it. No. If I come to you and ask is because I know you can help me. And I know that I have a weak spot. But if you come to me and tell me, my 3-year-old is going to be like, okay. And then it depends what level of, but then I say, hey, you're the lead here. Don't worry. They're just words. Just keep it okay. Yeah. Let's listen. Let's mindfully listen. Let's be respectful and nice. They're telling you something because they care about you. Okay. Wait for it. Hold on. Assimilate. Take it in for real. And that's how I work with my 14-month-old 3-year-old. And then I try to allow myself to remember that everybody cares about you, but then they are the same ones who don't listen. Okay, you don't do the tit for tat thing. My facade friend. So as you grow mentally, emotionally, physically mature, that's why, again, you don't abandon people just because you're different, and you don't do anything except for tease each other like Manny, Diego, and Sid, and like Pacha and Cusco. However, we're all the Pachas, okay? So the luminous warriors are people who have healthy self-soothing, healthy self-worth, healthy self-everything, and we don't ignore our body. Your body's connected and your mind is integrated, your brain is integrated. Otherwise, you're not yet luminous because you're not capable to be self-aware to the point of saying, I will continue to recalibrate to my health because there's no need for me to be in defense mode and to be in nasty thoughts or imagination land. So the mind's eye doesn't confuse a person who is a 5D body type, is what I call it. An enlightened one, compassionate towards self, others, knows exactly what forgiveness from Jesus means. Hope in heart, sad, doesn't matter, mad, afraid, you're not physically dead, cool, no monsters in town, and there's thoughts grounded in reality. All my cherishable beliefs and anything that comes through my mind's eye could be fake. Doesn't have to be. I don't need to do anything with it. I'm going to leave it alone, and then I'm going to make sure I say, am I healthy? Yes, you're healthy. Cool. Okay, so the neuroscience and the neurobiology and the mental health, it's a very, very beautiful era because they know how to help all people and to differentiate and discern between that which is, so we have the different models in the MSD, whatever model thing. So that's very beautiful to know that they're so moving ahead and helping people, the ones who care, obviously. The ones who still don't believe in their colleagues, they isolate themselves, and then we get to spot Peter Pans with Wendy's, and they all have lost boys. So it's a sad thing to see those who think they know magic works through them. They didn't reclaim their power. They didn't take the lead. They're sure as hell as acting as if they're brilliant and loyal to what they love. In the meantime, we know they're not because they don't know how to be in the now and notice that their cherishable beliefs are not the only way that people can get healthy. No, that this and that are true. And the way that you get healthy is by giving and receiving with grace and gratitude, which means that you can have forgiveness for all your brothers and sisters. And if you're not ready yet, that's why there's Patrick Tian, a childhood trauma survivor, healed and healing. He's a good therapist. And he says, if someone tells you it's time to forgive and they are forgiving, I call bullshit. I say, no, I don't, but I'm not one who needs to reparent myself. So he's there for the ones who are going to be feeling that way, where they don't want to forgive because they say, I was stripped away of being able to love myself first. I was stripped away of being able to easily be a body in connection, ventral vagal state, which is my mammalian heritage. I don't want to forgive someone who actually had me being cut off from that which is my logic and my emotions and my thoughts because I'm very pissed. I can imagine being pissed that actually I am upset because I was made to feel like a monster, not an angel. So I don't know that feeling, and I can only imagine. And that's why I honor Patrick Tian and his journey and the journey of his community. And here we have luminous warriors who know why we don't abandon anyone or leave them out to dry if they're an emotionally immature human being who needs help. Because that's where they all will be at, but they won't want the help. And you won't be able to talk sense to them. So my facade friend and I, we're friends. He gets dumped after 14 years, his only very serious number one relationship of all time. So imagine, he's now in his mid-20s, and the one friend he has left him at home vomiting. And I found out because we were going out with a group of people, dancing, having a good time. I had already seen the disgusting, mediocre behavior of college students between frat, sorority, drinking, drugging, all of it. Not fascinating. And when I see movies, not fascinating. So anytime you meet an enlightened one, it'll be like, sure, go waste your time doing shit. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. And stop blaming Lucifer, because really there's answers with neuroscience, neurobiology. So anybody who's in a mystic plane who's blaming a monster, they are continuing to also need to notice, why are you blaming the monster? Because negative self-talk and images comes due to the fact that your first 3 years there must be some stuff going on. Where's your attachment? Did you get the category? Do you know? But are you tending to it? Because you don't just unlearn it on your own with your own self. So the people who think that they can heal someone, it's not that straightforward, because if you don't own the sense of self, and so I'm going to leave it alone. The therapists are awesome, the ones who are doing a great job, and people who take themselves seriously, they don't use mystic, spiritual, or personal self-help growth yet. They will wait till they're ready for it. The ones who don't want to go to the therapist, they will want to be all over all of the mystic stuff, spiritual and self-help, and they will say, no, I want you, I don't want them. Okay, I can help you, but you're not going to get what you're looking for in the exact best way possible for you, because your body doesn't know how to navigate that thing called equanimity. It doesn't know how to navigate the thing called love. It doesn't know how to be in your oxytocin gene hormone consistently because you're not yet completely all your child parts or your fragments. You're not yet whole. Wholeness and personality pattern. You're not working with it yet. You're still in the illusion of your intuition being spot on while you don't have prefrontal. You got a gut that's working with a, bunch of child stuff. So when you meet emotionally immature people, they choose, like my facade friend, to bring forth their stories, attachment, rejection, all the abandonment wounds. Okay, so my friend, he's gotten broken up. His friend doesn't invite him to come out. I say, give me his number. I call him out. I see them as they play the dance floor with all the women, and they even switch it up between each other just to stay vague, which I find, okay, yes, polyamory community. We're not all one polygamous, but really these people are monogamous, and they're actually just treating each other like objects, which is why it's not about what they're choosing. It's the active lack of conscious participation. And then knowing that we got immature 16-year-old version of that human being with their 0-8, emotionally immature. And what I think is even more disgusting is knowing how the first 3 years of life is implicit memory, and they really don't understand when Pat Ogden mentions the body basically doesn't have the capacity to metabolize what happened, and so they're playing out unfinished business on a wheelhouse. So then I think that's why I'm using new cartoons. Is the only way to make it into something that is respectful to human beings that actually are just, they had an awful beginning, is by using Gargamel and the Smurfs and the Care Bears, because really it's just like that. So when you know who God is, he always wins. Intelligence always wins. Akash always wins. There's no question about it. So really, if you're enlightened, empowered, and a mystic, and you understand all the attachment trauma, you're like, those are poor children. Okay, let's try to just reframe all of it and just put it to the side. So, college students, yuck. Grown-ups, yuck. Wow, brilliant. Yeah, sure. I'm going to go now. So my facade friend, I'm seeing this. I didn't know any of the attachment trauma. I just found it odd that all these people were doing this bullshit. In fact, I actually have another funny story. In this whole disco place that I would go, there were a bunch of women. These were all women that would go after these two guys who, the minute I spotted them, I noticed their pattern. And it was hilarious. They had a brunette and a blonde. I was the brunette of the duo. I got to be friend zone. No, they were just a friend. I had no interest. And I actually got my foot stepped on by a girl who became my friend. You know the stories if you're regulars. Who stepped on my foot because in this woman's ear, this human being man said, don't hug me, Maria will get jealous. I'm not a jealous person at all, let alone did I have any interest in him since I had my twin flame one at the time. I'm like, yeah, I ain't into you. You're cute, but look at what you're doing with your buddy. Like, what is this? And then the women who would go to the clubs and fight over these men who, by the way, had monogamous girlfriends. And I wondered, where are the girlfriends? We never get to see them. They're just out here clubbing. And then these women who are all fighting over them, they're ridiculous. It's like hens and roosters, but just Tom and Jerry. Bullshit. It's not even discussing. It's like, what are you doing? Where's your sense of self-worth? Oh, that's right. You need a therapist, but you don't want one. So when you don't have the capacity to talk sense to people, I don't try because I learned from teenagers. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb. What are you doing? Oh, wait. I'm so sorry, God. I'm dumb too. I'm dumb too. That's how it worked. Maria started to learn how to leave it alone. I don't like mediocre. And I don't like ignorance. And now that I know that they're leaving their inner child to rot in hell, I don't like cowards even more, but I feel bad for the 3-year-old. And then I remember God tells me not to judge human suffering, a waste of my fucking time. So my facade friend, as we're hanging out and doing, fun stuff, he brings to me this equation. I say, look, it's not time. You got an Achilles heel. Your weak spot is this, and you're not ready. You just got dumped. Leave it alone. What does my friend do? He lies to me for a whole 7 days. And then he brings to me this, oh, I didn't want to. She made me. No, she didn't. I said, did you have a gun to your head? No. Okay, good. So nobody made you do anything. You made a choice. Then he went on to do a bunch of more things. And so in these bunch of more things, he disrespected for Maria, our friendship. I thank my facade friend. Thanks to him, I don't get in anybody's face and say, all I asked was for you to be yourself. So this facade friend is the perfect example of an emotionally immature person who lacks self-empowerment, lacks self-awareness, lacks all of it. The difference is I don't have beef with people who are cowards. because I actively don't judge. I know exactly what I am getting to see out there in the world thanks to the smart ones, the great ones. Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Bezel Vanderkolk, Pat Ogden, Stephen Porges, Janina Fisher, Peter Levine, and a bunch more, the entire keep. And the ones who don't want to be talked sense to, in fact, to a T, they continue to do everything Patrick Tiahan has pointed out. The hostile, the doomsdayer, the doer, the are we good, and the ghost. And then, besides that, they also continue dating, toxic relationships. They continue trying to save themselves, which is even more upsetting. And they have a savior complex, thinking that by being mystics, that they're the ones who are going to magically save. And that one thing that is really clear is they forgot who God is and who Akash source is. Because again, you overflow with humanity, divinity descends. It's common sense. You ain't it. It knows the bigger picture. So you will never forget, if you are in communion with Akash source God, that there's only one. And the frequency is not a story. It's a very specific, it's a nudge. Okay, so this is I'm going to bring to you as a mystic who didn't know I was already with downloading, because I didn't look into any of this stuff. Spiritual gifts are the same as clairs, and neuroscientists know it. And a healthy self-worth human being is a mammal. So I'm going to bring science. Restored embodied human being, knowing my self-worth, knowing what health is. My nervous system picks up on yours. My gut and my brain are actively in tune with Maria's good gut. The minute it says, no, I'm out, hey, see you later, I don't involve anyone. The minute it gives me different types of my gut, not talking about God yet. Okay, so I know how to wield myself based on exactly what and I will not be talked sense by anyone, which is why the intuition and the illusion and the fact that you think you can know everything. No, I'm not a good person for scouting in the forest. I would completely get lost. So my intuition will be off. Now, if I were by myself, I can hope and pray that my body is good enough. You know what I mean? And I will say I trust in nature because I'm part of it. I'm not different from it, right? So this is where if you're grounded, but we don't need to bring in extreme examples. So choosing you doesn't mean abandoning others or not helping someone who is drowning. My facade friend, when we became friends again, the first time around, it was because life took everything away from him. That was his perfect life, because it wasn't meant to be his perfect life, because he hadn't yet healed himself. So you healing and becoming your full-blown grown-up is what I'm bringing to you. Okay? So when you have attachment wounds, you're blind by your own self-righteous butthole and by your own wounds and charges, which is why healing with someone like Patrick Tian is better, because you will take and honor your child part, reparent, and then once you're your actual authority, you'll go out and have a good time. Other than that, I'm going to see Wendy, Peter Pan, Lost Boys, and that's why I just say, wow, they're all fabulous. Sure, they know they're not. Mediocre people are not fascinating. Lack of intellect, not fascinating. Future humans know way better how to do all of it, because, again, we're learning now how to do things here. And when someone says the humans are the first, it's like, okay, seriously. Obviously, that whole thing about the sun revolving around the earth or whatever doesn't, So when you have limited consciousness, it's because they don't realize that we don't know. Darkness and everything coming from darkness simply means the Big Bang, right? They haven't disproven God. They haven't disproven spirit. Science isn't in competition with spirituality. It's another way that God can achieve that which is those who speak a different language. And really, we don't even have to bring in God. See, an enlightened one will be able to completely accept that which is an entire other field that will explain something called dark matter, dark energy, and that they're still looking into it, because sciences know that 97% of what is out there is unavailable for them. And mysticism also knows that that which is unavailable to others. So we are in the exact same boat because we are curious people. We're not afraid of the unknown. Darkness, hello darkness, my old friend, I don't need to know the end because I'm still alive. Why would I be bothered with the end? And I'm not going to be thinking about, oh, I can't wait to go. No, I'm enjoying my life because I don't suffer it. Because I'm a self-empowered, enlightened human being who knows you have a body, I have a body. So my facade friend, when he does his bullshit stuff, at a certain point I say, I'm not talking to you anymore. You disrespected our friendship. I don't do friendship lightly. This is where he is a friend of mine. It's a soul connection. I have an honor with that. So the minute that he was in this space, I said, nope, 5 years. And then when we talked, it was because I knew God chimed in. I was intuitive already with all the clairs, and I knew where the planet was at. I said, okay, shit's going down. When he says to me, I don't know how you do this, I said, do what? Be a friend? I didn't do anything special. I didn't abandon him. Then when I found out he was lying again, I said, why? And I got pissy, but we stayed friends because at that point I understood the MO. Then I got attachment trauma educated. And when I got attachment trauma educated, I cried for a lot of days and a lot of time. And then I said, well, at least now I can be a better friend, a better person, a better everything. Because now I know how to handle all the insecure human beings who don't want to get their health, is by ignoring it and leaving it alone and accepting defeat. And it's not a monster though. It's complete mediocrity and behavior of people who actually are betraying themselves, not me. You didn't betray me. I don't have anything to do with your body or your life. It has everything to do with you. And then God always will chime in. Hey, none of your business. Hey, none of your business. Okay, now all he tells me is not to judge my brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of my fucking time. And then I got Buddha making fun of me, and I make fun of him because I say, you sat under a tree. But then again, I didn't need your ventral vagal toning exercises or your mindfulness meditation because I had Jesus and I had integration, and I still do. It's called Maria. And then, I got lucky. I got more clairs. I got a bunch of things. I got a twin. So I got to choose how to do the right thing. And you know why? So a very simple equation. I'm a adolescent. I'm finding out about all these cowards. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be a coward like they are. Backstabbers, liars, cheaters, bunch of bullshit for nothing more than they're afraid. And so I said, no, I'm not going to close my heart. Keep it open. Why would I close it? Then I'd be a liar. I would be saying I love, but I don't love. So when you have self-awareness, it means you have introspection. You'll know how to process that, which is sadness, because it's easy. You'll also know how to discern very easily those who are equanimous and loving. And luminous warrior always does the best for the entire herd, not just what they like or don't like. They also don't bullshit themselves. So they don't take life lightly, and they don't say they love lightly. And so they don't make love or relationships that which is something of an object. So if I say I love you, this means that I will do my best to not bring to you any of that which is something that would weigh you down, be worried, right? So physical health is number one. Emotional and mental are with that physical health. Then everything else will come easy because you have what it takes. Integration of brain, restored embodiment, it's the health of you. So people who want to use the word love in the ways that the monogamous people think they know the best way, or monoamory, amore, love, means that I can use the oxytocin gene hormone. When you get your embodied brain online, you'll know what it is like to forgive easily, and then you'll know why Jesus suffered for our sins, because every day I see people that are not noticing their shame defectiveness has this thing called healing potential, like my facade friend. Going to therapy and getting yourself to become an actual empowered human being. I'm 45. I still meet the eyes of people who have no empowerment whatsoever, and I have to look away because I thought grown-ups would all be emotionally, mentally, and physically mature. Now I know they won't. And when you meet an emotionally immature one, you accept, love, and respect them just the way they are, because I don't put my expectations on you. I'm not God. I'm not it. And actually, I'm a piece of that which you are a part of, but you won't ever know that piece. Pure consciousness, Purusha. Pure energy, Prakriti. I call the pure energy the 3-year-old, and Purusha means that you use two sides of the brain, and then you know what it is to be common sense. And then you understand what attachment science is and how to get yourself healthy. And then you also understand why it's valuable to yourself, first of all, because you're honoring you. And then you don't say, I want the person that's spiritual, grow up, Maria. I want life now. No, you don't do that. There's a human being out there. They made a beautiful speech about how amazing it is to get healed, and then I got to see that. I'm like, okay, well, at least they got halfway through what the Choo-Choo Train did. So with that being said, and transcending intuition and illusion through truth and balance, leading to inspiration and faith, we do not abandon or leave anybody out to dry, because that's actually cowardly. When you meet the cowards, you'll know who they are. And when we think of the evil scale of Michael Stone, we know they all end up in prison, and that's because they all need help. And luckily the future will look bright, because science and spirituality, they work together, as do the intellectually, emotionally, and physically intelligent people, whether they are Akashic record readers or not. They have mastered the plane, and they continue to master the plane. As long as we will live, we will continue to forever grow. Knowledge, emotion, you get to poke at each other and more, and we might be back with some more. In the meantime, if you want, tune on in to 3 ways to spot enlightened ones, IHP Live TikTok. I got a little short there. And then we have another short on enlightened ones and spotting them, as well as a complete episode if you're curious, and a lot more. So thanks for stopping by.